Give us a sense of how badly hit you were by the pandemic and the lockdown, and why, as a consequence, you see great opportunities.
Rishad, the wave 2, the impact it has had on the country is, from medical point of view, from health point of view, has been greater. The fatalities have been higher. The people who have been infected have been in dire need of oxygen, many of them. So from 2 points of view, one, the requirement of oxygen during the second wave was very high. In fact, the country had to rally round to make sure that oxygen is available for those who have been hospitalized. So, but for the steel industry, we had good learning from the last wave. So this time around, I believe all the steel companies, especially AMNS, was well prepared. And therefore, with all the COVID appropriate protocol behavior in place, the impact could be contained to a large extent. We have not allowed the second wave to affect the operations of the company. Many of the people were working from home, but the operations with minimal staff, by splitting them in 12-hour shifts, we could manage to run the plants to full capacity utilization. Now, as far as the demand is concerned, yes, the demand did come down. The second wave has affected the rural India. The spread of the second wave was much larger. It has even affected the rural India. The penetration in the country was much higher. Therefore, the medical infrastructure found itself, there was a lot of requirements to improve the oxygen supply to all the remote hospitals in the country.
I want to get a sense of future growth, though. India's emerging from this dreadful pandemic and the lockdowns, and I want to get a sense of how much you see demand increasing. Perhaps there's a lot of pent-up demand here as well, and how steel mills, what your expansion capacity plans are as well. Quickly, thank you.
See, it is hinged on 2 aspects. One is the enforcement of COVID-appropriate behavior, and second, the vaccination drive. India has to ensure that it speeds up the vaccination drive. It should approach close to 70 million jabs a day towards December. Now, that is a tall ask so that we can be safe from the third wave. So vaccination is a key, but otherwise, we expect the demand to revive. June has been better than May. The auto sales has picked up. Now, for example, the auto sales in June, if you look at year on year, there is 147% growth. And month on month, also, there is 118% growth. Even the tractors, the rural India that was affected, that has also picked up. There is a pickup of about 19% even in tractor sales with respect to last June.
Right.
So all in all, I think the markets should revive. The fiscal stimulus is required to be maintained. The cost of capital should remain low. And I have no doubt that with all the efforts that the government of India is putting in, the economy will grow. There will be, it may not be
Dilip?
an absolute V-shaped recovery as last year, but there will be a definite improvement this year.
Dilip, not surprising that we've seen a surge in the prices of steel and iron ore as the global economy reopens. Do you think the rise in prices is sustainable going forward?
See, we have to look at it a little deeply. Now, China, which produces more than half the world's steel, what is happening in China? There is a big focus on decarbonization. There is, therefore, a focus on cutting down on production. It is said that the production last year and this year are going to remain the same. Now, keeping in mind that there is a 60 million extra production more than last year in the first half, the second half should correspondingly see a 60 million dip, which if the last year's production and this year's production have to remain the same. So what does this do? The economy of China is growing at a very brisk pace. The steel consumption is growing. The steel production is being curbed. So what does it do? The exports will come down, and therefore, wherever China was exporting, and even the domestic prices, yes, there will be some blips due to political intervention, but I don't see the prices coming down. There structurally no changes are taking place to show that the prices will go down.
And any M&A plans? We know that big steel mills...
And sorry, just one more point. And with the fiscal stimulus being provided world over, and with the vaccination drive, especially in major economies, the economy will grow, and therefore the steel demand will grow.
Dilip, any expansion plans? Any M&A plans?
Yes, we are keen on improving our footprint in India. In the state of Gujarat, we are from present 8 million tons. We'll be ramping up to 18 million tons in phases. The first phase is to 14 million tons. The focus is not only on upstream, but also on downstream. The product offerings will be much larger. We'll be looking at import substitution to a large extent, and therefore we will ensure that we are not only looking at the upstream expansion. There is a big need for upstream expansion in India because if you look at the per capita consumption of steel in India, is still very pathetic. It's still at 75. There's a long way to go. Even if we have to catch up with the world's average of 229, it's a long way. It's good news for the steel industry. It has to grow. It has to grow. So we are looking at growing to 18 million tons in Gujarat. And also we have signed an MOU with the government of Orissa for 12 million tons.